If you're thinking about hiring an Amazon VA and you're worried about some of the common mistakes sellers make and how to avoid them, then this is the video for you. Today, I'm going to share with you the things that I've seen from hiring over 1,000 VAs myself and placing over 500 VAs with our Amazon sellers within my business. Stay tuned. My name is Thomas Parkinson and I've built 3 companies, of which 2 have done over 7 figures. At our peak, we had over 88 virtual assistants full-time working for me. They've done everything from email marketing, video editing, software development, operations, customer service, you name it, they have done it. Part of this YouTube channel, I share everything that I learn about my business, the operations, and managing VAs. So if you're interested in learning more, make sure you hit subscribe. Let's jump into those 8 common mistakes sellers make when hiring an Amazon VA and how you can avoid them. Now, the first one is going to be having an unclear role definition. Now, for you, when you think about hiring anyone, you've really got to understand how they're going to fit into your business and what is their purpose within your organization. And this is going to really help maximize the efficiency and clearly define what they need to do and how they add value to your business. So quite simply, their purpose is going to be the tasks that they're responsible for day to day, week to week, month to month. Now, in addition to this, you're going to have a plan, and that plan is going to be about how they actually manage that within your organization, within your workflow. One common thing we see all the time is that thinking that one VA can do so many different things and one size fits all solutions. Now remember, there are some VAs who are going to be specialists. This is just general in any employment. You're going to have specialists and then you're going to have generalists. If you have a defined problem and a way to solve that problem, it could be video editing, it could be customer service, sourcing products, and you know exactly how to do it and it's documented, then hiring a generalist to fit that role can be very good. But if you don't yet know what you're going to try and solve, you're probably going to have to hire a specialist who's going to help you build out that systems, build out that purpose and that plan, for which then you're going to hire a generalist VA to come in and action it on an everyday basis. Now, the second problem that I see all the time is hiring part-time VAs. Now, I have nothing against part-time VAs, but what I've seen time and time again through myself and through other sellers is that if you have a role right now, which is a part-time role, and it might go into a full-time role in the future, you're much better off just trying to hire into a full-time position now. Because when you hire a part-time VA, they're generally looking for work and they're going to accept your part-time role and probably someone else's. And as a result, they're going to get overloaded with work and they're not going to be learning as much. And they're going to probably lack focus, maybe lack consistency and understanding because they've now got to learn 2 clients worth of work. In addition to this, if they are working part-time for you and they've got a second job, then the problem comes is if you want to now take them on full-time, you can't. Now, really hiring part-time can be a real red flag or a worry, and perhaps maybe you want to look at the freelancing option for part-time rather than actually hiring internally for yourself. Now, one of the things I want to say is that building a team is actually really hard work. There's so much you have to do, and not only that, you're running your business, and I know this. And that is why we've created our free job description and downloadable contract that you can get for free, which is going to help you start building your team and just save you a lot of that hassle. If you have a look in the description down below, you can get a free copy of that contract and a job description to help get you on your way. Now, the third common mistake that I see is ignoring the detail within the interviews. Now, I've seen it too many times where people are interviewing a VA and all they're doing is just asking them the question and accepting the answer back. They're not going into the detail to really understand the candidate's experience. For example, if a candidate has told you that maybe they're an expert on Amazon Seller Central, I would ask follow-up questions like, okay, so tell me about what a typical day would look like for you managing within Amazon Seller Central. And I'd want them to break it down in really detailed step-by-step examples. I would be asking them questions like, tell me about a situation whereby you solved a really challenging problem. What was it and how did you solve it? Now, I would also ask them to tell me a question about maybe there was a time that they couldn't solve a problem. And I'd want to know all the details about that. The devil is in the detail, and by listening to the detail, you can truly understand if they actually know what they're talking about, or they're just trying to tell you what they think you want to hear so that they can get the job, but they're not actually good at what they're doing. Now, the fourth common mistake I see is not understanding their career trajectory. This is so important. So many people think you can just hire a VA and put them in your business and that's going to work. But it doesn't work because your VAs will quit too soon. Now, aligning the VA's responsibilities and the tasks that they're going to do within your business with their career goals is going to set you up for a win-win, a successful solution. For me, within my business, I'm always asking about where have they been, what's been their career in the past, why they made those decisions, but also as well, I'm trying to find out where they're going to go after my job. I want to make sure that this job fits into their career goals. I want to make sure that my role works for them. And if you don't understand this, I promise you, your VA will leave. So make sure you're aligning your job with their career and it sounds logical, and they will stay with you forever. Now, a quick note for you, do stick around to the end because I'm going to share a tip with you that I've seen so many people make, and it's so easily avoidable. And this is once you've hired the VA. It's my very last tip, and I'm going to share it with you at the end, but it's just an easy, simple solution to a very common mistake. The fifth common mistake I make is focusing too much on skills rather than having a fit within your business. If, for example, they have done Amazon management, Amazon sourcing before, this is a great skill set, but it doesn't necessarily mean they are going to be the right person for you. Or when we talk about the right person for you, we mean things like communication, understanding their character, understanding the way they operate, and maybe they're even their operating hours. These things are going to be so important for you to understand outside of the physical skills, because even if they can do the job, if they don't align with you and how you operate and the way you like to run your business, it's just going to be conflict. And as a result, you're either going to end up firing them or letting them go, or they will quit. And it's just going to be a really bad fit. So when you're looking at interviewing, make sure you're understanding like their working environment, their hours, like how well do you communicate to each other. Maybe do a test whereby you can actually give them a typical example of a problem that you faced or we want them to do and see how they interact. This is so important. Just because they can do the job doesn't mean that you're going to want to work with them over the long term. And we're here to build long-term businesses. Now, the sixth common mistake that I see is people not being realistic with pay. Some people think that they can pay VAs very little. Some people think that actually, even if they were being paid a lot, they'll probably take a lower salary now because, hey, I am a really good employer and I have a great job. That might not be the case. Whenever you're going through the interview process, I always like to ask them about their pay during each individual job leading up to this. I want to make sure that this job is going to be aligned with a pay increase for them, and it's going to be a good opportunity for them that they're going to be happy with. I'm also going to be very wary and very careful of those who expect a salary way above and beyond what I'm offering, because they're probably going to be looking for another job while working for me, and I know that they're going to leave if they find a better pay, or perhaps even worse, they're going to work two jobs because they need the money. So asking about pay, being realistic with pay, can save you a lot of hassle in the long run. The seventh issue I've seen, and this is probably one of the most important ones which I'll see apart from my last one, is lacking proper systems within your business. Whenever we hire someone, and especially if this is your first hire, having systems is going to be super key. I mean communication systems. How do you talk? How do you communicate within the business? Generally, your VA is going to be virtual, remote. How does that work? And understanding how that communication works is going to be really important. For example, in my business, we'll have one-to-one chats on a personal, but also we have group chats or even specific project-based chats, which keep the communication in a certain way. We also use tools like ClickUp, and we have the Zoho Desk platform that we'll operate on quite a lot, which really supports us with process mapping and also managing tools and projects within our own business. Now, in addition to this, understanding what our SOPs are, standard operating procedures, really documented ways of working, are going to really help my VAs understand exactly how we operate within my business. These are the standards by which we operate, and we write these down and they're available to everyone. But not only that, we have video format as well. For example, within my business, we have a really good guide or SOP for the way we analyze profitable deals. We want to make sure they're ticking, crossing the T's, dotting the I's, and every single time we buy a product, we have to go through that entire checklist to make sure it's right. This checklist has saved me so much money, but it's part of those procedures which allow me to get my team up to standard much, much quicker. Now, one thing I just want to say for you is finding a virtual assistant can be a real challenge. And hey, you know what? There are so many options out there. Do you do it yourself? Do you use an agency? You just don't know the answer. And what I want to do is introduce you to the Fast Track FBA VA Academy. Now, this is a service that I created whereby we find, hire, and train Amazon virtual assistants for your business. Now, we support them with 12 weeks of aftercare support for both you as the client and the VA as well, making sure they get to the standard. Now, if you have any problems and maybe they're not right for you, or perhaps you want a replacement, or even the VA leaves, then we will replace that VA at any point within those first 12 weeks at no extra cost. Not only that, we'll reset the timer for your replacement VA for another 12 weeks. Now, with all of this, we only charge a one-time fee, and it's a perfect blend between doing it yourself, which you don't have to worry about, but also not incurring the ongoing costs. Now, if you want to know more, have a look at the Fast Track FBA VA Academy. I'll drop a link down below, and you can book a free call today. Now, the eighth most common mistake that I see, and I've seen this time and time again, and it's such an easy mistake, is getting your VA to do multitasking. This is the problem that I've seen time and time again. Now, what I think, or what I see, is that business owners think VAs are versatile. They can do so many different things. Why? Because we can do so many different things pretty quickly. And the problem comes is that we give them all those things straight away. Now, I'm not saying a VA cannot be multitasking or versatile. They can. But you have to be very, very mindful about the way you give them products or tasks to do. Now, what do I recommend? How to overcome this mistake is give them one task at a time and make sure they get that to standard before you introduce the next. If you try and give them too much at once, they're going to become overwhelmed and they're not going to be able to focus and actually get the standard that you need, which is going to help take the issues off your shoulders and give it to the VA. Instead, you're going to have to constantly keep crossing the T's and dotting the I's to them. You're going to get frustrated and it's not going to work. So one of the most common things I can recommend for you to do is, yes, multitasking is an option and it can work, but only give your VA one task at a time to do, get that task to standard, then give them more. One thing at a time, that's the most important part. Don't let them get overwhelmed. Now, in conclusion, what do I say? Amazon VAs can significantly change your business and allow you to scale. My God, I've built 2 7-figure Amazon businesses with a team of virtual assistants. But the one thing that I'll say for you is make sure that you're doing the right due diligence in that hiring process. Going through those tips I just talked about, talking about the communication, talking about the role, clarifying the right match for you. These things are going to ensure that you hire the right VA for you, which is going to work in the long term. This is going to be a win-win, and it means that your business is going to go from success to success. I hope you like that. If you did, give me a big thumbs up, and hey, if you want to see more, make sure you hit the subscribe button down below.